Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, sir, madams. Today, I would like to present my final project submitted for the requirement of the degree of Sarjana Sastra in English. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Aziz Afandi, 2013 literature student from English Department of the Faculty of Language and Arts, Semarang State University. So, let's begin the presentation. The first is the content of this presentation. It will be divided into 5 chapters. The first chapter is about the background of study, reasons for choosing the topic, and research problem. The second chapter would be previous study, theoretical background, and theoretical framework. The next chapter would be in the research instrument and the procedure of data analysis. The chapter 4 is about translation technique analysis. And the chapter 5 will be in the conclusion and suggestions. Now, let's begin the chapter 1. Chapter 1, background of study. This will explain why I choose this topic. So let's begin. Humans are as social creature. They really need to communicate. They really need to communicate because they are communicative in nature. Human without communication will be same as like a lone animal or Homo homini lupus. But because humans are originally communicative in nature, they would like to build a group at first, then they would continue to become a community, then those communities slowly become society as we know today. Humans needs to be capable of human communication not only in spoken form or talking, but also materialized in written form. Those written form then materialize as books such as the Bible or finally the novel. Before the invention of the radio, reading has become the most common form to pass time since the invention of printing press. Well, at first, before the invention of printing press, people has become something like common reading for the people. But after the invention of the printing press, many literary works were produced and novel become people favorites reading things. Why people like reading a novel? Because the novel has a story that tends to be entertaining as it can make the reader feels what the writer is feeling in during writing those novels. Because people become greedy for new reading novels or any reading material, they began to look for any foreign language books to read. But only a few select people that could understand the foreign language, mainly nobles and any dignitaries or people that travels a lot. Thus, translation become the solution of that problem, because from translation we could understood what foreign language is saying as it was transferred into our own language, such as from English to Indonesian. Catford in 1965 that translation is a process that changes text from language into another. Uh, Many methods, strategies, techniques were used by the translator to translate some text like the literary text. The purpose of this literary translator basically is to capture any meaning, form, techniques and the beauty of the source text and translate them into the target language or the target text. Thus, this study would be conducted to find and explain the usage of translation techniques in the main character's dialogue of Tetsuko Kuroyonagi's Toto-chan, the little girl at the window. The next will be the reason for choosing the topic. Well, I am interested, or me as a researcher interested to study the translation technique used by the translator in translating the main character dialogues of the Toto-chan, the little girl at the window. Because every literary work required its own set of translation technique to work with it. Thus, it is much important for the researcher or a translator to know both definition and example of translation technique to his or her work. Also, the last is because there is no research conducted about the translation technique in Indonesian translation of Toto-chan, the little girl at the window. Yeah. And the research problem would be, what are the translation technique used in translating the main character dialogues in Toto-chan, the little girl at the window into Indonesian? The next is previous studies. This contains journals and some books that I've used as a reference to write this final project. The first is Agustino in 2011 made research about translation technique used by the translator in translating flight attendant manual of operation directorate announcements book. He concluded that only 9 of the 18 translation technique of Molina and Albir 2002 classification were used in translating the book itself. The most used translation technique is the established equivalence, where the lowest techniques is amplification. The next is Aziza 2019 wrote a study to investigate the most applied use technique used by translator in translating the English-Indonesian translation of Sam Smith's song in the Lonely Hour album. The most used technique were literal translation. Both people use the translation technique of Molina and Albir. The next two studies also use the same, one by Rahmawati 2015 with the novel Divergent written by Veronica Roth, has resulted in being the borrowing technique being the most used translation technique, with the calque and discursive creation both are the least used technique. And Christie SS 2015 in the research about manual book or buku panduan of smartphone Andromax phone with a total of 141 data. The result of the research shows that only 10 out of the 18 translation technique presents, with the borrowing technique become the most used technique used by the translator with 84 data. The next is theoretical background, and this is the 18 technique proposed by Molina and Albir in 2002 for this research. The first is adaptation, amplification, borrowing, calque, compensation, description, discursive creation, established equivalent, generalization, linguistic amplification, linguistic compression, literal translation, modulation, particularization, reduction, substitution, transposition, and the last is variation. The next is about the definition and dialogue. In here, I took a page from the internet of the Merriam and Webster dictionary. It provides at least 3 entries for dialogue. The first is about the common explanation of written form of 2 or more people having a conversation with each other. The second one is about a discussion or an exchange of opinion between 2 or more conflicting parties in order to reach a conclusion or resolution. And this is the theoretical framework. As you can see, the source text is the Tetsuko Kurayanagi's Toto-chan, the little girl at the window, the main character's dialogue part, and the target text is Tetsuko Kurayanagi Toto-chan, gadis cilik di jendela, menjadi dialog karakter utama, and at the center is the translator with the translation technique of the Molina and Albir. And the next is the instruments of the study. And this is the translation technique analysis sheet that I've created in order to make my research easier. It's divided the data into a number and the page where the data was found. And the next, I would place the original source text of English in the English version of the book, and the next I will place its equivalent translation in English of the Indonesian version of the book in the target text column, and then I would like to analyze which translation techniques used by the translator. And this is the procedure of data analysis. As I've mentioned before, I will read both the novel of the English version of the Toto-chan, the little girl at the window, and the Indonesian version of Toto-chan, gadis cilik di jendela, and to understand which sentence is the dialogue of the main characters. And then the dialogues will be identified and organized separately into the previous column of the source text and the target text. And then I will analyze the translation technique used out from the 18 translation technique of the proposed by Molina and Albir 2002. And then I would determine the most used technique in the Indonesian translation of Toto-chan, gadis cilik di jendela, and by using the frequency of the data and the percentage. And the next is the main part, the translation technique analysis. As you can see, from the analysis done to the novel, there are 308 main characters dialogue sentence found by the researcher. From 18 techniques, the researcher only found 13 techniques found in the main character dialogue sentence analysis. Those techniques are adaptation, borrowing, calque, discursive creation, established equivalent, generalization, linguistic amplification, linguistic compression, literal translation, modulation, particularization, reduction, transposition, while the remaining 5 translation techniques were not used by the translator. The first technique we will discuss today would be literal translation, and the most used translation technique found by me and used by the translator with a total of 104 data. Literal translation is basically pouring what contained within the source language or source text into the target language or the target text. Well, about SMS as the word by word translation. These are the following example of the literal translation. The gates growing, gerbang ini tumbuh. The same as the original. The become ini, gates become gerbang, growing become tumbuh. The next example would be, why do you walk like that? Mengapa kau jalan seperti itu? Why become mengapa? Do you walk menjadi kau jalan, like menjadi seperti, that menjadi itu. Word by word translation, almost the same. Actually the same. The next most used translation technique would be established equivalence. Well, established equivalence is basically copying the word of the target language term from formally recognized translation of the source language text. Basically, translators simply copy the exact copy and no need for further translating. It's like copying one word from dictionary to another. It's established term for the source language in the target language. Here there are total of 44 data. This is for the example. She put her hands on her hips. Toto-chan berkacak pinggang. Put her hands on her hips could be translated literally menjadi meletakkan tangannya pada pinggangnya. But those terms are too long and there are already established equivalent of berkacak pinggang. The meaning is pretty much the same. And the next would be, I see, said the headmaster. And translated into, oh begitu, kata kepala sekolah. I see here does not really mean aku melihat in Indonesian language, but more like, oh begitu, or something like I understand, or ya begitu, something like that. The next translation technique would be particularization with a total of 32 data. Particularization technique is basically the opposite of generalization because it is a translation technique that give more concrete term for source text into target text. For example, I'll ask the headmaster to and the man at the station. Menjadi become, tapi akan kutanyakan pada kepala sekolah dan petugas pengumpul karcis. The man at the station could be translated into Indonesia become orang laki-laki yang ada atau pria yang ada di stasiun. But in the translation, it pointed out to a specific person, which is the petugas pengumpul karcis. And the next is, he plays violin and owns several violins. Translated into, papa pemain biola dan punya beberapa biola. Here you can see that the original source text use he or dia laki-laki as the substitution of papa, but in the translation version or the Indonesian version of the book, it became more concrete term for papa. So you can use particularization technique for something like that. The next is adaptation translation technique. Basically, it's about changing or replacing any cultural elements in the source language text into its equivalents from target language text culture. This technique occurred 22 times or 22 data. And here's the example. In the English version, or the source text is Oe pulled them and saying heave ho, heave ho. And the Indonesian version it says Oe menarik rambut sambil berteru, ayo tarik, tarik. The first version heave ho is actually a shout when pulling something heavy in English. Usually used when in the docks yard where people pull something heavy with their colleagues or friends of worker when pulling something heavy from a ship, or in sports when they have a tug of war. And the equivalence of the in the Indonesian language is based on the tug of war or lomba tarik tambang, when people say ayo tarik, tarik, something like that. And the next example is oh goody goody, and it was translated into wah sedap sedap. In the original, oh goody goody is a shout, formal, not really formal, but commonly used in book when a child shouted something delightedly about something, such as when he or she, the kids, receive something good or something sweet like snack, and when people give snack to that kid, uh, he or she will sometimes says, "Oh, goody goody," and there's not really equivalence in the Indonesian, but it was translated, "Wah, sedap sedap," in context that what the kids receive is a food, but because in the in the original and in Indonesian version, the context is about food, so it kind of matches. The next is linguistic amplification. Linguistic amplification occurs when linguistic elements present in the source language are added into the target language, and as this technique commonly found during dubbing or interpreting. And there are a total of 19 data. The examples is the source text says, "Why are you still at the window?" And the target text said, "Mengapa kau tetap berdiri di depan jendela?" The original could be translated into "Mengapa kau tetap di jendela?" Something like that. But in the translation, in the Indonesian version, the translator added "Mengapa kau tetap," and the next is added "berdiri di depan jendela," where it could be translated menjadi become "Mengapa kau tetap di jendela?" Something like that. So the word berdiri and di depan were added. And the next example would be, "But today you'll just have to stay home and wait for me." Menjadi become, "Tapi hari ini kau harus tinggal di rumah dan menunggu aku pulang." The wait for me can be translated menunggu aku, but it kinda incomplete, so the translator added the word pulang menjadi menunggu aku pulang, something like that. The next is borrowing. Borrowing translation technique occurred when any word or expression in the source language is taken into the target language, usually without any change, but slight variation may occur. There are a total of 18 data. Here is some example. Mr. Sunit Sadata Jibana, who plays the cello. The Indonesian translation is the same for the cello. Mr. Sada Tachibana yang memainkan cello. Cello is still the same, so there is no change at all. The next is my sister in America says they got something there called television. Kakakku di Amerika bilang di sana mereka punya sesuatu yang disebut televisi. In here, a slight variation occurred from television to televisi. The next is generalization translation technique. Well, it is the opposite of the particularization technique from previous explanation, where now it is because the source text translated into more common known umbrella or general term for the target language. There are 18 data, and here is some example. In the first example is their pigtails, and the target text is ini kepang. Well, actually pigtails is a type of what is it? A hairstyles, something like that. And while kepang in Indonesian is more general term when the hair was tied with a rope or tied with any kind of rope or something like that, or just with the hair itself. But the pigtails is a type of kepang, something like that, usually. And the next is it doesn't have any taste at all. Well, in Indonesian it was translated into tidak ada rasanya sama sekali. It was translated into nya because in Indonesian there is no pronoun for gender neutral. So it was translated into more general term of nya, because nya it is more general term for anything from a person to any kind of something. The next is calque. Calque translation technique happen when a word of different language is literally translated completely with its grammar, structure, or lexical. There are total of 14 data, and these are some examples. The first examples is, couldn't I be a ticket seller who's really a spy? And it was translated into, bukankah aku bisa jadi penjual karcis yang sebenarnya mata-mata. Ticket seller is the direct penjual karcis is the direct translation of the ticket seller. And the next example is, how would you like to go to a new school? Bagaimana kalau kau pindah ke sekolah baru? New school become baru sekolah atau or sekolah baru. It was simply swipe the structure, but the meaning is still same. Next would be the linguistic compression. The linguistic compression is basically when linguistic element presence within target text was compressed or reduced to normally, because it is technique that normally found in the dubbing or interpreting. There are a total of 10 data. These are the examples. The source text, first source text is, do you understand? Become mengerti. Where usually it could be translated menjadi apakah kau mengerti, but the translator compressed into mengerti. And the next is, what do you want it for? The translator reduce it into untuk apa? Well, iku also be translated into kamu menginginkannya untuk apa. But the compressed form become untuk apa, simple like that. The meaning is still the same. The next is discursive creation. Discursive creation is when translator try to make some makeshift similarity which could be out of context. This technique usually found in the title of stories or poem or songs or like that, something like that. And there are a total of 10 data. These are the example. The original or the source text is "Be a good girl," said Daddy. The the translation become "Baik-baik di sekolah." There is no connection at all, but the meaning from "be a good girl" basically you have to be a good kid or that behave appropriately in school. So the translator cannot simply translate it into jadi anak perempuan yang baik. It becomes weird in the Indonesian language, so it was better translated into baik-baik di sekolah. The next is now don't be afraid, she said in a big sisterly voice. The translator could translate it become jangan takut, katanya dengan nada kakak perempuan. Kakak perempuan yang bagaimana? Indonesian translator also think something like that. But I think the translator come into a good context with jangan takut, katanya seperti seorang kakak menyemangati adiknya. Much better translation with a well transferred meaning. The next is the reduction translation technique. This technique presents when any information or descriptive item of the source language are reduced or suppressed in the target language. There are 9 data in total. Here is some example. I like this school a lot. This school a lot. It could be translated into aku suka sekali sekolah ini. But a lot was erased in the target language and it become aku suka sekolah ini. The next is now I'll go and show it to mother. The original translation could be sekarang aku akan pergi dan tunjukkan ini pada mama. But go or pergi was erased in the Indonesian version of the target language, target text of the novel. Become sekarang aku akan tunjukkan ini pada mama. The next is the transposition technique. Transposition technique happen when the grammatical structure of the source text is changed to match its target language structure, such as the singular, plural, noun, or adjective displacement. For example, you mean there are only 50 children in the whole school? And the target text it become maksud Bapak hanya ada kira-kira 50 anak di sekolah ini. Di seluruh sekolah. Children here is the plural form in the source language which is English for child or anak. But in Indonesian it simply become anak, the singular form. Because there are already term 50 which mean the next noun automatically become plural in the target language or Indonesian. The next is also the same almost, but it's full of difficult words. So you can probably read all of it. Become, tapi banyak kata sulit di sini, jadi mungkin tak semua bisa kau baca. Full of difficult words. Words could be translated into kata-kata, but because there is word banyak means plural in Indonesian or the target language, the kata become plural too. So banyak kata is plural now. The next is modulation or the least used technique. There are only a single datum found in this technique, found in this novel. Translation. Basically, modulation translation technique means that any cognitive element, such as the focus or point of view within the source text, are changed in the target text. And the example is, can they do anything about it? She asks concerned. And it become translated into, tidak adakah yang bisa memperbaikinya? Tanyanya penuh perhatian. Well, as you can see, can they means someone, become tidak adakah means no one. So from they or someone become tidak adakah berarti no one. You get it? I'm sorry. So from perspective of many people, become nobody or no one can repair it. Something like that. And this is the translation technique analysis percentage. The most used technique is the literal translation with frequency of 104 and percentage of 33.76%, followed by established equivalence of 44, particularization in 32, adaptation 22, linguistic amplification 19, borrowing 18, followed by generalization atau also 18, calc 14, next is linguistic compression 10, discursive creation 10, reduction 9, transposition 7, modulation 1 with 0.32%. The total data is 308 data of main characters dialogue sentence and 100% percentage. And this is the conclusion. There are 13 techniques used by the translator in the main character dialogue translation of Tetsuko Kuroyanagi, Toto-chan, The Little Girl at the Window. The percentage found as follows. The first is literal translation. As I've mentioned before, from this percentage table, established equivalence 44 data, particularization 32 data, 10.38%, adaptation with 22 times 7.14%, linguistic amplification 19 times 6.16%, borrowing and generalization 18, both of them are 18 times, 5.84%, calc 14 times, 4.54%, linguistic compression and discursive creation 10 times, both of them represent 3.24%. This is a slight error in the discursive creation percentage. I will rectify it later. Reduction 9 data represent 2.92%. Transposition occurs 7 times, represent 2.27%. Modulation with only one data or datum represent 0.32%. The next is suggestion. For translator, because many experts have proposed theories in relation to translation techniques, they resulted in many techniques. It is important to use different set of translation techniques so that the resulted translation work would be much better. And for further researcher, there are many different types of literary works. Thus, future researchers should conduct different elements of literary works, such as the deductive utterance, idiomatic expression, imagery, and etc. Because the development of the translation study should also be followed by a future researcher. That's all presentation for me. The next would be the question and answer section. And that's all. Thank you very much. Good evening.